What's up, entrepreneurs? Bekah here
Colby.
and Colby Grant.
I feel like
We
my name is
are
always like,
back at it again after we took a little short break to, stay home and stay safe away from the Rona.
that is true. I wouldn't say a break. It was just like, still adjusting. I feel like a lot of people are still adjusting to this whole corona, staying at home.
Yeah,
And like, we obviously have a family. So,
right.
we can't just like stop everything and just like, all right, let's go. Um, but
True.
this episode, we're going to discuss um, tweets that have impacted us. And I feel like this is a good one just because I feel like when you're at home and you can't do what you want to do, the best thing to do is find motivation. And it's like kind of like, where do you find your motivation at? Me personally, I find my motivation from tweets from people that inspire me or people like I see, like I've seen where they've come from and like where they are, and they know how to put words. They know how to use words to kind of like get you to be like, okay, I gotta start working now. And
Yeah.
so it's one of those things that you just have to um, find what motivates you. And like what we're doing now is we're doing tweets that have motivated us. So if you're watching this on YouTube, the tweets will be on the screen, but obviously we're going to read them to you.
Yeah. You want to start us off with yours first?
All right. So my tweet comes from John Cena, which probably is not a surprise to anybody. Um,
You have to announce him the way they do on WWE.
no, I don't. I'll do the you can't see me. How about that?
Yeah, but they can't hear that.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't see him. That's the
Uh,
joke.
uh,
Yeah, no one's gonna really
Good
get.
one.
But you'll understand that. Hopefully you understand because his gimmick is you can't see him because he's John Cena.
I'm
Anyways,
pretty sure everybody understands.
I hope so. All right, so the tweet that I found from John Cena is never making a mistake is a mistake. Try, fail, learn, grow. I picked this tweet because I picked the tweet because I feel like everybody needs to make a mistake because it's very important in doing whatever you're doing. Whether it's, being an entrepreneur, being a teacher, being a photographer, being a graphic designer, creating a podcast, just whatever you do, you got to make a mistake. And when I think about it, like me at my age or you at your age, which you're like 25, how old are you? Can I ask that question?
28. Nice. I'll take it.
Okay, yeah,
28.
no, that's why I did that. No, so like,
Oh, so you really probably think I'm like 34 or something.
I know I'm older than you. I know that. So I just didn't want to
How
like,
old are you?
I'm 31. I just turned
Why
30
did you roll your eyes like you forgot?
because sometimes I have bad memory. Like
Okay.
it's bad. But anyways, so like when people tell you to start things, they're always like, "Oh, you got to start when you're 20." That's nowadays. It seems like everybody's talking to the younger generation. It's like, "Oh, you got to start. You got to do this. You got to do that." But like when you're older and you already have a family, and it's kind of like you can't think about it. You can't. I mean, you can. Like you can like obviously make a business plan, do all that stuff. But in my perspective, my way of thinking is I just have to do it. And
Yeah.
the best way of doing it is just doing it and then making a mistake and just build
And
off
like
of
not
that.
giving in to like people's negative feedback about it and
Yeah.
just going forward with what you want to do despite what everyone's saying.
Yeah. And I mean, even like with podcasting, it's kind of like you're going to make a mistake, figure out what the mistake is, and then learn from it. Like
Yeah.
even like with awkwardly surprising when I first started that, I really had no idea what I was doing. Everybody says that. you have to find your niche. Like, what is something that you can focus on? Obviously, if you're
Mm-hmm.
listening to this podcast, I focus on a billion things at one time. Um, and a podcast like that is kind of like, okay, I can't just go on there and just randomly talk about like teaching, tutoring, entrepreneur, um, being a graphic designer, all that stuff at once. So I think with me is the mistake that I've learned from starting a podcast is making sure I have the right mics, making sure I have it set up correctly. If you've listened to some of my podcasts, I feel like my audio has gotten a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Learning
That's been
how
some growth.
to, yeah. So, I mean, learning how to do different things. So, like adapting, doing FaceTime or Zoom, so stuff like that. So, I've made a lot of mistakes, but I make mistakes to where people see them, and I'm kind of like, okay, I know what I messed up on. Next week will be better. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I messed up again. Next week will be better. So I'm not afraid if
As
I
long as
really,
they're all like different mistakes,
yeah,
you
as
gotta
long
learn
as,
from your
yeah.
first mistake and not try to repeat it again.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes like that same mistake you made like week one will come back on like week five, and it's kind of like it just randomly happened to where you just assume it won't happen. But
Yeah,
even if like the audio is messed up again, like down the line, it's kind of like, okay, I know what I did. I messed up on this, but
right.
you know, it's one of those things that as long as you learn from it and make sure like you just keep checking to make sure everything's perfect.
Yeah.
Um, so like for instance, this will be my last thing and I'll let you go. Doing the Facebook Live. I did a Facebook Live awkwardly surprising episode lot this week. It was,
Like during the whole episode.
yeah, it was I didn't expect it. But like I assumed I could go on Zoom and just connect it to Facebook or YouTube. But you have to pay for you have to upgrade your Zoom account to be able to even access that.
Oh,
So that's why my episode is really long, or it started later, because I just assumed Zoom could do that. So I found an alternative, which my mistake was, okay, Zoom can't do this, and the person I'm interviewing or talking with was just like, oh, we can't do this. And I was like, no, we're gonna find out. And so I ended up finding a program to allow me to do it. But I mean, that's a mistake that I made, but not down the line. Like, let's say if we want to do a Facebook Live, I already know how to do it.
right.
So it wasn't one of those things I made a mistake and then I was like, all right, I'm done. We're just do it regular. It's like, no, I'm gonna figure this out. But that's just
Yeah.
how I am.
Okay.
So how about you? What is your tweet of the
The tweet
podcast?
that I picked today was, where'd it go? Um, the main thing is realizing that even if you feel terrible for a while, that's not how you're going to feel the whole time. Things change if you just keep moving. And that one kind of resonated with me because, like, you're not going to be great at everything that you try, like, at first. It's kind of goes back to what you just said too. Like, you're going to make mistakes along the way, but you can't like be discouraged because of your learning process. You just kind of got to keep moving and like keep learning, keep making those mistakes, and just get better and do better, from those past experiences. So it's kind of like a, don't beat yourself up for learning type
Yeah.
of quote.
But I
I
mean, the
really
thing
like it.
is yeah. But the thing is just like you got to start. That's and
Hmm.
that's with anything, and not being afraid of failing in front of people per se.
Yeah, it's honestly like owning a business, and even like podcasting. It kind of goes back to anything. And you feel really vulnerable, because you're exposing yourself in a way that maybe some people aren't used to. And for some people that it's heavy and it gives them anxiety and then it just like backs them out of the whole thing. But, sometimes entrepreneurs, like the entrepreneurs that actually like develop their small business, like they overcame that. They got past the point of being vulnerable. They got past the point of exposing themselves, and, they started that business.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, even with me, like it's still, I mean, I can be honest, like I still feel like it's still terrifying doing a podcast, but I think it's more terrifying putting it on YouTube. Um,
Really?
I mean,
Like
I
the
think
actual process, because that looks like a nightmare.
uh, it it kind of is to an extent, but no, actually, like being on there, I like if you follow my YouTube, all my things are changing, so you're seeing like it seems like I'm upgrading all my like edits. So I mean, but no, just like being on YouTube, like that's the place that I want to be, but I'm still at that point where I'm scared to get to that like dive all the way in. And I think the podcast is allowing me to kind of get myself out there, and
Yeah.
then it'll still be awkwardly surprising, but it'll be awkwardly surprising with Colby Grant instead of just awkwardly surprising because obviously it is me. Um, and I haven't got to that point to where I just want to just like dive all the way in yet because I'm still trying to figure things out and figure like how would I want to do that and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's just mine. I feel like if you're listening, you should send
You
this
mean
one.
like with people watching you on YouTube?
No, I think more as of in me doing it individually, like my
Oh.
own, like awkwardly surprising. This is like a Colby show type thing.
Oh, okay. I was a little confused at first because I didn't
Yeah.
understand that you meant just by yourself.
Yeah, so it would still be the podcast, but now I would transition it to like the awkwardly surprising YouTube channel type thing, um,
Yeah.
but with me, obviously.
Hmm.
Just so there'd be videos of just me talking about stuff, or
I
maybe
really like those ones that you did with Kylie, though, for sure.
yeah, a lot of
Those are
people.
really good.
Yeah, my thing is I like having. My thing is I like talking, so
Yeah.
that's I guess you can say that's my niche. I like talking, and I feel like I have good conversations with multiple people, like different
Hmm.
people. So that's why I have different people on there. It's just because I feel like after a while in that kind of environment, not this one because obviously this one is straight business or just entrepreneurship and you know telling people what we've done um,
Yeah.
to help better us. But in that environment, it's kind of like one of those like I like different people. Yes, Kylie's my wife. If you're listening, and we have a good dynamic. But after like 2 weeks, which we've done 3 weeks, I think together, it's kind of like we talk every single day.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we can't fake it and get on and do it again. Um,
Hmm.
and so yeah, she'll be back on. I have ideas that we can do because a lot of people liked our we don't share bank accounts or whatever video. Um,
Yeah.
so and people I mean, you gave us your feedback, and I feel like we should go back on there and kind of like talk about like the people who gave us the feedback, and then she actually found something that kind of fits exactly what we think about. But I
Oh,
don't want to say it because I want to save it.
okay.
So no, I just like people's different perspective on things, on like a lot of things, whether it's just like current events, not like really current, but just like stuff,
Hmm.
teaching, family, having kids, being in quarantine. So like everybody's been talking about like teachers and how they've been feeling during quarantine. So like I'm gonna have a teacher on there and talk about like how their experience from being in the classroom to online. Like I can give my experience, but
Oh, that's so funny you say. Well, not funny, but my friend Casey, she is a teacher, and she was telling me today that she is so sad that she doesn't think school's going to open back up, and she won't. She just relocated from Orlando to here, but she's going to finish out her school year in Orlando.
yeah,
And now she's sad because she doesn't know if she'll be able to say like bye to all her kids. You know?
yeah, and that's one thing I'm trying to get this teacher on. Not this week, but in 2 weeks. But
Yeah.
my thing is, because I've worked in elementary and obviously I'm in high school now, so I'm going to have a student on, because my thing is everybody's talking about teachers. What about the students? Like, how did they feel during this kind of pandemic, and like um, college classes, or about to go to college, or SATs that you needed to take? Like, how is that affecting them?
Yeah.
And your friends, if they're in a relationship, how's that affecting your relationship if you can't see them? If you're, I mean, it all depends on your parents as well. Some parents are just like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But what about the
Mhm.
parents that are like, no, you're not, this is serious. So I like getting different perspectives from everybody.
That's so true. Like they can't like force kids to go back to school after all of this has just happened, you know?
Yeah,
So I wonder how that's gonna work out.
yeah. So I mean, we're recording this on Thursday, and they just announced that the Jacksonville beaches, will open on Friday, the 17th. Is it after 5 p.m.?
It's between I think 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. and then it's closed until 5 p.m. It reopens until 8 p.m. every day. So they're trying to discourage people just going out there to lay out, but you can go out there and play sports and walk, surf, dog, like walk your dog. Like you can do any of that. You just can't like sunbathe. Literally, it says no sunbathing. Sunbathing.
What's
So
the point even going? But I mean, my thing is, it's kind of like, if they really haven't really come up with a solution, why take the risk? Like, I just read that the governor from New York made it mandated or whatever, to you have to have your mask on when you leave your house or wherever you go.
really,
Yeah. So it's kind of
wow.
like, why would we open the beaches if, I mean, granted, I know New York is probably worse than us, but it just doesn't make sense. Like, New York's
Yeah,
doing something to protect everybody, but then Florida's going to open their beaches. Granted, it's only for a little bit, but I was like, nah, y'all can go to the beach. I'll stay in my house
yeah.
though.
Not
But
about that life either.
no, I think you asked like how they can't force students to go back to school. My question
Right.
is, can they force teachers to go back?
Yeah.
Because I mean,
It's kind of scary. Honestly, I think that they should just unfortunately close it for the rest of the year and then start back over in August, you know?
yeah. I mean, I think they just want to keep giving everybody hope, which I understand. But like, what about like, you can't really, and what I heard, my sister lives in Germany. So what she said is they're opening the school, I think, just for the seniors, so they can take their tests and do all that college stuff. And obviously they're old enough to know, like, hey, social distance, stay away from me type thing.
Yeah.
And then I guess they'll slow the process for that. So she asked, like, how are we doing it over here? And I was like, we haven't, I think they still think it's going to be May 1st. But my thing is, like, if it's still the same, like, what do you tell people, like, to have that are serious, that could be seriously affected by it, like I am, like I could be seriously affected. So why would I go back to work if they haven't really
Right.
done something yet?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just one of those things
It
that
was
just gotta,
crazy.
yeah, just gotta wait and see.
I can't wait though for all the small businesses to open back up because I know that like they've got to be going through some hard times for
Yeah,
sure. Like brick and mortar stores that have like storefront.
yeah, I actually just saw something about small businesses and how some of them are, I think it was a place in China. Obviously we're not in China, but usually China feels everything first, if I can find it real fast. But pretty much it just said that even though some of the businesses has opened, a lot of the people still haven't gone there yet, because it's not as busy as it used to be, because people are still like afraid of this. uh,
Yeah.
they don't know like what's going to happen. So I wonder if that's gonna, I feel like here in Florida or United States, it's not like that. I mean, especially in Florida, because people in Florida, they really don't care. So as soon as
Right.
they lift that ban, it's kind of like they're just going to go out and just do whatever they can.
Mhm.
Obviously, more people are more cautious. So I don't think it'll have that big enough impact on us just because we're. I feel like Florida is one of the places where people they just don't care. They're just like, ah, if it's get me, it's get me. It's not that big of a deal. But obviously in like China, they're just like, oh, I'm not gonna go out as crazy as I did.
Mhm.
So I mean, yeah, I hope everybody that has a small business still stays open. Um,
Well, they did come out with that CARES Act, like the small business loans. You just pretty much have to submit for it and then kind of like wait on that support money to like keep your store and employees afloat.
yeah, but it's
So
I just hope those things don't like screw people over. That's my thing.
yeah, because you got to pay them back.
Yeah, and you don't. I don't know. I didn't really look into it because I don't need it.
I
But
don't
it's
either.
just like when stuff like that comes out and you see it everywhere, it's kind of like okay. Obviously, they're going to do their intense reading of it, and some people will do it without even reading because they need it, which is
Hmm.
understandable. But I just hope it's not one of those like I did this and now like 5 years later, like, the government's after me because they saved me, so I have to repay them back.
Yeah, it's kind of like a trap.
Yeah. So.
Ah, oh
I mean,
well. I hope they make it out alive.
yeah, and on a side note, since I did bring up John Cena, WWE has let go a lot of wrestlers as well.
Oh man.
Yeah, so it's hitting.
Gosh, everyone's being affected by this. I
Yeah,
wonder what the total number of job loss is from this pandemic.
we're talking about like unemployment
Yeah,
because they keep talking
I
about
wonder
it.
what the number is.
Wish I can find that the Instagram page that I follow. It's like a business one that kind of shows up. And it's funny. It's like when you need it, they don't show up, but when you don't need it, it shows up. Let's see. But I know it's a lot, like a stupid amount. It's not stock. Is it the stock?
Oh, this is a good one. Stop hanging around people who don't like that.
Wait, you froze. I didn't hear any.
Mostly because it's kind of like you didn't hear it.
You like froze as soon as you said it.
Oh no. Wonder what happened. But this one says stop hanging around people who don't want to win. So it's like it goes back to that what's that saying? Like it's like who you hang around is who you'll become. There's like a saying about that.
Like the people you hang around is kind of like where you will end up type thing. Like just
Yeah.
if you feel like the people you're associated with have, and you don't want to say they don't have anything going on in life because everybody has
Hmm.
something going on in life, but like when you say, hey, this is what I'm doing, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I don't care. It's like they're not really supporting you. Why hang out with
Necessarily have to be on the same track in life. Like you could be the only entrepreneur in your family, but if they're or around your friends, but if they're like not supportive and kind of just stuck in the same lane that they've always been in and they're not trying to like I guess succeed and like do better in life, it's almost discouraging and it's better for you to, you know,
them? Yeah,
maybe not hang around for them with them so much. I don't
yeah,
know.
because it's kind of like why associate if they're not. I mean, because
Yeah,
you want to talk about the stuff that you're doing with people that will celebrate you. And um,
exactly.
one of the quotes that I have, it's not a tweet, but it probably is a tweet because he's probably tweeted it before. But Charlemagne God said, like, go where you're celebrated, not tolerate it.
Hmm. I like
So
that.
if they're not celebrating you, why even like? I mean, granted, we're not saying like, cut off your friends. We're saying, you know, if they're not really supporting you or subscribing to your YouTube channel or at least listening to your podcast. I mean, granted, they
Hmm.
don't have to do that. It's just one of those things that when you tell them, "Hey, I'm doing this,"
Yeah,
hey,
it's honestly like if there's no encouragement there or like you know, just complete lack of care, that's when it's like maybe I shouldn't hang around with you that much. But
Yeah. I
I don't
mean,
know.
one of my friends says, he's like he says it randomly, but he's like, yeah, the one thing about Colby is if he says it, he's gonna do it. I'm like, I guess.
Yeah,
But I mean, as I said,
that's a good thing for somebody to say about you, though.
yeah, and it's one of those things that if I don't if if I fail at it, then okay, I probably I my thing is I'll either figure out how to make it better or not. I feel like okay, this is not for me. I need to find something else to do
Yeah.
or improve it. So like with Grant Visuals, it's kind of like okay, how can I change my Instagram? Obviously, my Grant Visuals, the hodgepodge of pictures and editing in video editing. So it's just like, as I said, it's a visual of and I changed my bio. It's a safe space for me to put my creative art because
Hmm.
I'm not, I mean, if people want to pay me to do it, cool, but I want to create stuff and just put it out there. Like that's really all it is. Um, I don't have like a set thing, but where was I going?
I
Um,
don't remember, but I was
um,
following.
oh no, my thing was like I figured out how I was like, how can I change my page different from everybody else's? And I was like, okay, I'll just start recording my screen as I edit a video. I mean, as I edit a picture, and I'll just post it. So like now, like I put 2 videos
Yeah, they looked really cool.
of my edits, and I have another one I have that I was supposed to drop today, but forgot.
And it's cool because like not a lot of people like to put out their process,
Yeah,
uh, just in case somebody wants to duplicate it or, you know,
and my
but
thing
I
is
think it's really interesting for sure.
yeah, my thing is like, okay, well, what's the difference between me putting my stuff out and then people doing it on YouTube? Granted, I'm not walking myself through it or walking you guys through it because I don't know like I never know my end game. A lot of people know their end game. I don't. I just like
You're just kind of in it for pure enjoyment.
yeah, as I said, it's a hobby. And if
Yeah,
people are like, hey, you want to make me one? Sure, I'll make you one.
right.
But yeah, I can't do the whole like, okay, follow my journey through this picture because I don't know my end game. I can't explain why I'm doing this or why I did that. It's just that's how I felt at the moment. I'm not Picasso.
The Picasso of video editing
And picture editing. Yes.
and picture editing.
So yeah, I mean, do you want to end it at this point or do you have anything more to say? I think we hit some good tweets or good quotes for this one.
Yeah, those were some good tweets.
Um,
I
so
did like
um,
them.
So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put them up. If you send me that tweet that you said, I'll put it up on the.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Um, are we gonna do? I guess we should let them know. Are we doing every Monday, or are we just gonna do every week when we can figure
We
out?
are going to drop whenever we feel like it.
Good, that's perfect. As long as they know.
I kind of like that. Yeah. So
Yeah,
if you're listening, followers, every Monday was cool, but we have life, business, work, lots of stuff to deal with. So we thought it'd be more comfortable and more surprising to you if we just gave you some random drops. So
oh,
you're about to get it Friday morning, 6
yes.
a.m.
Also, you're still shouting out all those businesses on Instagram. But
Mm-hmm.
if you are listening, if you have a small business, please reach out to us on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or email us at jacksentrepreneurs@gmail.com and we'll set you out on the podcast. I mean, we'll do it for free. Like, I mean,
Yeah. Just
there's
shout
no,
out your business.
yeah. So don't think like we're trying to get money. We're just trying to help you guys. Um, so I mean, reach out to us now. I was listening to another podcast, and he was like, "Reach out to me now while I'm free, because once I get big, don't get mad when I start charging."
It's over for you.
Yes. So, but yeah, check us out on Instagram, um, YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Facebook. Make sure you check out Awkwardly Surprising. It's on
Do you
Apple.
have any feedback or any ideas that you want us to talk about? hit us up. Maybe you can be on our show next.
Yes, we can zoom you in.
Zoom you in.
So.
It's going to be a new saying.
Yeah, maybe for me, I'll might have to be zoomed in for everything. Hey, zoom me into my classroom.
Yeah.
So, but we will end it with that, and we will catch you guys on a surprise date.
All right. Okay, love you. Bye.